Okay, now we move to the legislative hearing. We're here to receive testimony on 4 bills before the committee. The first bill, S-236, sponsored by Senator Markey, would authorize 99-year leasing authority for both the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe and the Wampanoag Tribe of Gayhead, Aquinnah. These are the only 2 federally recognized tribes in Massachusetts. Providing both tribes with the same long-term leasing authority ensures parity and allows for longer lease terms that can spur economic development. Congress has enacted similar leasing authority for many other federally recognized tribes. The second bill, S-1508, the Shivwits Band of Paiutes Jurisdictional Clarity Act, sponsored by Senator Curtis, would address a recent 10th Circuit Court of Appeals decision in the Lawrence case concerning subject matter jurisdiction over civil actions arising on Indian lands. This legislative fix would help ensure the band can fully engage in economic development on its lands, including providing certainty for what judicial forums are available when entering into contracts with third parties. The bill also amends the Long-Term Leasing Act to authorize leases of up to 99 years on land held in trust for the band. And next, S-1513, the Lower Elwha Klallam Tribe Projects Lands Restoration Act, which is sponsored by Senator Cantwell, would place approximately 1,082.63 acres on the Olympic Peninsula in the state of Washington into trust for the Lower Elwha Klallam Tribe and designate the land as part of the tribe's reservation. The land is currently managed by the National Park Service. The bill also prohibits gaming on the transferred land. This transfer represents the final phase of the restoration of the Elwha River ecosystem and fisheries and would return stewardship of the river and culturally significant homelands to the tribe. And finally, S-2735, the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians Land Transfer Act of 2025, sponsored by Senator Padilla, would place 2 parcels of land in El Dorado County, California, totaling approximately 265 acres, into trust for the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians. 1 parcel, approximately 80 acres, is currently managed by the Bureau of Land Management. The other is approximately 185 acres of fee land already owned by the tribe. The land would become part of the tribe's reservation and gaming would be prohibited. The tribe intends to use the land to provide much-needed housing for tribal members, as its existing 160-acre reservation is fully developed and essentially landlocked by surrounding private development. I want to thank the witnesses for being here today. It's never easy traveling to Washington, D.C., but we really do appreciate your time and your advocacy, and I look forward to your testimony. I will introduce the witnesses that we have. First, we have Ms. Trina Locke, who is the Directorate of the Environmental and Natural Resources Office of Trust Services, Bureau of Indian Affairs, here in Washington, D.C. Welcome. We also have the Honorable Brian Whedon, who is the chairman of the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe in Mashpee, Massachusetts. We have next the Honorable Tina Gonzalez, who is the chairman of the Shivwits Band of Paiutes in Ivins, Montana. I'm going to have Senator Cantwell introduce our next witness, the Honorable Francis Charles. But before I do so, I want to acknowledge the Honorable Regina Cuellar, who is the chairwoman at Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians in Placerville, California. So, Senator Cantwell, if you would care to introduce your witness.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chair Murkowski, and to Vice Chair Schatz for holding this important hearing. And I do want to thank our witness, all of them, but especially Chairwoman Francis Charles of the Lower Elwha Klallam Tribe. I reference your comments about traveling far, and I'm not sure you could get much further in the continental United States than where Francis Charles hails from. So thank you for flying all across the country, particularly when our state is in a massive state of emergency, to be here with us and to communicate. You have been chair and have served on the Elwha Council since 1993, so a long-time steward of our lands. As a council member and chairwoman, she has been on the ground and directly involved in the restoration of the Elwha River since Congress first authorized the removal of the Elwha Dam in 1992. And I want to thank her for her work over the years. Earlier this year, I introduced S-1513, as you described, Madam Chair, the Lower Elwha Klallam Tribe Project Lands Restoration Act, along with Senator Murray and our colleague from the House, Emily Randall. This bill would transfer over 1,000 acres of Elwha River land currently managed by the National Park Service and the Bureau of Indian Affairs to be held in trust for the Lower Elwha Klallam Tribe. These lands are just outside the boundaries of Olympic National Park and were originally acquired by the park for the purpose of removing the 2 dams along the Elwha River. When Chairwoman Charles, in her leadership over extensive planning and engineering in the legislation that was passed here, the largest dam removal project in U.S. history took place from 2011 to 2014, opening up more than 70 miles of salmon habitat. The Department of Interior then acquired additional parcels for water infrastructure to support the tribe's new fish hatchery and the House of Salmon, which are included in this transfer. Since the tribe has remained steadfast and a great steward of these lands, now is time to return them to the Lower Elwha Tribe. So transferring this would boost habitat restoration led by the Elwha Tribe and federal agencies. It would also aid in the recovery of 5 species of Pacific salmon, other native fish, including Chinook, coho, chum, pink, sockeye, along with steelhead and bull trout. Transferring the land back to the tribe will help preserve and enhance their culture and natural resources along the river, and passing this bill also would be an important action for the tribe in this long efforts to restore the Elwha, its salmon, and its tribal ancestral ground. So I appreciate the chairwoman for her longtime leadership in the region, including Chairwoman Charles and I first got very acquainted when an unfortunate DOT project was planned right on top of their tribal burial grounds. And what was discovered by the tribe was that this is a 3,000-year-old ancient community, Chiwitsin. And smartly, we all decided to vacate and let them deal with the reparations of their own people and the historic value of that land. But that was incredible leadership by her. This is another credible leadership, very hard to do these kinds of things, but the Elwha Dam and salmon recovery is paying dividends, and so we appreciate her being here and appreciate your consideration of the legislation.
Thank you, Senator Cantwell. I remind our witnesses that we do have your full written testimony. It will be part of the official hearing record. We're going to ask you to try to keep your comments brief. You've got 5 minutes allotted, but if you can shorten that even, that's good. We do have another vote that is in the queue here, so it's just a disruptive process, but that's what we deal with. Let's go ahead and begin the testimony. Ms. Luck, welcome, and you may present your testimony.